The first thing Clint saw was the arrow. It was buried in the stagecoach door like a signature. Black shaft, white fletching, and a strip of red cloth tied beneath the feathers. The cloth moved in the wind, like it was waving him closer. The second thing Clint saw was the blood. Not a puddle, not a smear. A trail, dragged across the sand in a line that led away from the coach and into the rocks. And the third thing he saw was the girl. She wasn't screaming. That's what made it worse. She stood on a boulder above the wreck, silhouetted by a hard moon, her long dark hair loose in the wind. She wore buckskin and a necklace of bone beads, and her eyes, dark, sharp, were fixed on Clint like she already knew the ending of this story. Then she raised her bow and aimed it straight at his heart. Clint didn't reach for his gun. He raised both hands, slow. "I'm not here to hunt you," he said. The girl's voice cut through the night, calm, controlled, dangerous. "Then why are you here, white man?" Clint's eyes flicked to the coach. 2 horses lay dead. A wheel still turned, creaking like a dying thing. Inside the coach, a man's hand hung out limp, fingers stained red. Clint swallowed once. "I followed the shots." The Apache girl didn't lower the bow. She stepped down from the rock with the silence of a shadow. Moonlight touched her face. Young, fierce, beautiful in a way the desert didn't usually allow. Not soft beauty. Survivor beauty. She moved closer to the coach and picked up something from the sand. A small silver locket. She held it between 2 fingers and stared at it as if it offended her. Then she looked back at Clint. "This is not an Apache attack," she said. Clint frowned. "Looks like one." She took a step closer, bow still trained on him. "That is what they want you to think." Clint's jaw tightened. "Who's they?" The Apache girl hesitated. For a moment, the wind was the only sound. Then she said, "Men who sell guns to both sides. Men who want war." A distant howl rose across the rocks. Not a wolf, a human call, low and eerie. The Apache girl's eyes flashed. "They're coming back." Clint's heartbeat slowed. Not from calm, but from experience. When a woman with a bow tells you riders are coming, you believe her. "What's your name?" Clint asked. Her eyes stayed hard. "Daisy." Clint blinked once. It didn't fit. Not for an Apache girl. Not for those eyes. She saw the question on his face. "That's what the missionaries called me. My Apache name is not for your tongue." Clint nodded slowly. "All right, Daisy." She pointed the bow at the blood trail. Someone was taken. Not killed. Taken. Clint stepped closer to the trail and crouched. Fingers touched the sand. Dragged. Barely alive. Then Clint noticed something half buried beneath a broken plank. A brass badge. He pulled it free and turned it in moonlight. U.S. Marshal. Clint's stomach turned. A marshal was on this coach, he muttered. Daisy's expression didn't change. And now he is not. Clint stood. If a marshal's been taken, every gunman in 3 territories will come sniffing. Daisy finally lowered the bow, just an inch. Good. Let them come. Let them see who truly did this. Another sound in the dark. Hoofbeats, far but approaching. Daisy snapped her bow back up. Too late. Clint swung into the saddle. Get on. Daisy stared at him like he'd insulted her. I don't ride behind men. Clint's mouth twitched. Then ride beside me. Or don't ride at all. Daisy ran to a second horse tied behind the wreck, cut its rope with a small knife, and vaulted onto the saddle like she'd been born there. They rode hard into the rocks, following the blood trail as it vanished into narrow stone corridors. Behind them, 3 riders appeared on the ridge, dark silhouettes against the moon. Not Apache. Their hats were too wide, their rifles too long, their posture too confident. One raised a lantern high, and Clint saw the red strip tied to the lantern handle, matching the red cloth on the arrow. A calling card. Daisy hissed, "The Red Lantern Men." Clint's eyes narrowed. "Who are they?" Daisy's voice turned quiet, dangerous. "They kill Apache, then leave Apache arrows so the soldiers will kill us back." Clint felt anger flare. "Why?" Daisy's answer landed like a knife. "Because war is profit." They burst through the pass into a hidden basin. The moonlight hit a shallow spring, water shimmering like a lie. Daisy slid off her horse and knelt, touching the water, reading the ground like a book. "4 men," she said, dragging one. "He's heavy." "Alive." Clint dismounted. "We can't fight 4 in open ground." Daisy looked up at him, eyes bright with fire. "Then we don't fight fair." A scream tore the air, this time close. Clint and Daisy ran toward it. They found a man tied to a post beside a small fire, face bruised, coat torn. A Marshal, eyes half open, breathing shallow. One of the Red Lantern men stood over him with a knife, laughing. "Marshal," the man said, "you should have stayed bought." Clint's hand went to his gun. Daisy's hand went to her bow. They struck at the same time. Daisy's arrow hit the knife hand. Clean. Clint's shot hit the lantern, shattering glass and flame, throwing the camp into sudden darkness and panic. Men shouted. Horses screamed. Clint moved like he'd been waiting his whole life for this exact moment, firing once, twice, never wasting a bullet. Daisy ran through the shadows like wind, silent and deadly, an arrow appearing and disappearing like a ghost. A Red Lantern man lunged at her with a club. Daisy ducked. Too late. Clint tackled the man from the side, slamming him into the dirt. Clint rolled, came up with his gun pressed to the man's throat. "Who sent you?" Clint growled. The man spat blood. "Everyone. Anyone with money." Daisy yanked the mask off another attacker, revealing a pale face, not Apache, not local. "Look," she snapped at Clint. "See what they are." Clint's eyes hardened. "Merchants, hired killers." They cut the Marshal free. He sagged, barely standing. Clint supported him. "Can you ride?" The Marshal coughed. "I can bleed." Daisy grabbed his belt and hauled him onto a horse like he was a sack of grain. Then the ridge lit up with lanterns. More Red Lantern men, 6, maybe 7, closing in. Clint's jaw tightened. "We're outnumbered." Daisy's eyes didn't blink. "Then we become the pass." She pointed to Apache Pass. Narrow, steep, cruel. "A bottleneck," Clint muttered. Daisy nodded. "A trap." They rode into the pass with the Marshal between them. Dusk, turning into deeper night as clouds dragged across the moon. At the tightest part, Daisy slid off her horse and ran ahead, grabbing a loose rope hanging from a rock, an old mine line. Clint understood instantly. He dragged a boulder to the edge, tied the rope around it, and braced. The Red Lantern men charged into the pass like wolves smelling meat. Clint waited. Daisy raised her hand. Clint pulled. The boulder rolled. Stone thundered down like the sky breaking apart, crashing into the pass and throwing riders into chaos. Horses reared, men screamed, dust exploded. 2 men were trapped behind the rockfall. 4 remained in front, close enough now that Clint could see their eyes. One of them laughed, fearless. "Clint! You think you can stop business?" Clint froze. "You know my name." The man tipped his hat. "Everyone knows your name. You used to work for men like us." The words hit Clint like a punch. Daisy looked at him sharply. "Is that true?" Clint's jaw clenched. "I did things I don't do anymore." The Red Lantern leader grinned. "Come back, Clint. You and me, we can make the desert pay." Clint's voice went low. "I'm done taking blood money." The leader shrugged. "Then you'll take regular blood." He raised his rifle. Daisy fired first. Her arrow struck the rifle stock, jerking it aside. Clint shot the leader's shoulder, spinning him. The remaining men hesitated, just long enough. Clint moved forward, gun steady. He didn't kill them all. He broke their courage. They retreated, dragging the wounded leader, cursing into the night. Silence returned. The Marshal groaned. "They'll come again," Clint nodded. "Not if we end the lie." Daisy stared at Clint, moonlight catching her face. "How?" Clint reached into the leader's dropped satchel and pulled out a folded paper. A contract. Names. Payments. A list of towns and men buying war. Daisy's eyes narrowed. "Proof." Clint's voice was calm. "We take it to the fort. We show the commander the truth. No more blaming Apache for hired killers." Daisy's expression stayed guarded. "Soldiers don't listen to Apache girls," Clint looked at her. "Then they'll listen to a Marshal. And to me." Daisy studied him like she was deciding whether he was real. Then she reached up and pulled a small charm from her necklace, a polished stone shaped like a crescent moon. She pressed it into Clint's palm. "For your debt," she said. Clint frowned. "What debt?" Daisy's eyes softened. "Barely. You chose not to let them turn us into monsters." They rode toward dawn, 3 figures against a fading night. The Marshal slumped, breathing hard. Clint guided the horses. Daisy watched the horizon, bow resting across her lap like a promise. At the ridge, sunlight broke through clouds and painted the desert gold. Daisy looked at Clint. "When we reach the fort, they will try to twist it." Clint nodded. "Let them try." Daisy's voice turned quiet. "And if they don't listen?" Clint's eyes hardened. "Then we ride to every town on that contract. We break the chain 1 link at a time." Daisy held his gaze. For the first time she smiled. Small, dangerous, alive. "Good," she said, "because I'm tired of being the excuse for other men's sins." The desert wind rose again, but it didn't feel like a whisper this time. It felt like a warning to anyone who tried to sell war, because the blood moon had seen the truth. And now the truth was riding out of Apache Pass, with a gunslinger named Clint and an Apache girl named Daisy, who refused to be blamed for a lie ever again. The end